Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty mind-bending. Imagine an ancient Vedic text that claims to hold, well, a blueprint for how the universe is built, a step-by-step guide to how particles are actually created. And what's wild is how it connects these ancient hymns to some of the biggest questions we're asking in physics today.
So let's just jump right in with a huge question. We know the universe is built from all these tiny fundamental particles, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder what prevents them from just smushing together all at once? When they get close, something seems to be actively pushing them apart. What is that force?
Well, an ancient Sanskrit text called VedVigyanAlok actually starts its whole explanation of the universe right there. It says, hold on, before anything can be made, we have to deal with this one huge problem. It describes this universal obstacle that gets in the way of creation itself.
And this obstacle, it has a name, Vritra. Now, you might have heard of Vritra from Vedic stories, where it's usually portrayed as this big dragon or a demon, right? But in this text, it's described in a much more physical way. It's an unseen, unmanifested force, buzzing with a kind of destructive electricity. And its one and only job, to stop particles from combining. It's basically the villain of our cosmic creation story.
And this is where things get really, really interesting. The text makes a direct link, a parallel, between this ancient idea of Vritra and a very modern concept, dark energy. You know, that mysterious repulsive force that scientists believe is pushing our entire universe apart, causing it to expand. This text is proposing that the exact same principle is at work on the tiniest subatomic scale, preventing particles from ever getting together.
Okay, so if Vritra is this universal stop sign, then how did anything ever get made? How did the universe get built at all? According to the text, it didn't just happen on its own. It required an intervention. A powerful force had to step in and basically fight back against Vritra's obstruction.
The whole thing plays out like a kind of cosmic drama. First, you've got particles trying to unite. But nope, the Vritra force pushes them apart. So to get past this, specific him waves are generated. You can think of them like a weapon. These waves come in, they neutralize Vritra's blocking force, and only then, only when that obstacle is gone, can the particles finally combine.
These interventions are called Rick-form waves, and they originate from specific Vedic hymns. The text is really clear on this. These aren't just poetic verses. They're described as vibrational tools, each one carrying a precise energy designed to perform a physical task. And this is the crucial insight here. The sound itself is the weapon. And these waves are highly specialized. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. The text describes two types, the Anuvakya and the Yajya. Think of it like a 1-2 punch. The Anuvakya wave is generated first. Its job is to control the space around the particles, kind of like preparing the battlefield. Then, once the stage is set, the Yajya wave comes in, acting as an accelerator to speed up the combination. It's a very systematic process. So you've got these incredible him waves doing all this work. But what's powering them? Where does all that energy come from? Well, the text describes what you could call a divine engine, a sort of dual-force mechanism that drives the entire process of creation. This mechanism is described as a partnership between two principles, Agni and Vishnu. And here, Agni isn't just literal fire. It represents the initial force, the raw energy, the heat, the electricity you need to get things going. Vishnu, on the other hand, represents the final goal, synthesis, the successful combination that ultimately forms stars and matter. So one starts the work, and the other completes it. And the whole reason this process works, according to the text, is because the hymns achieve a very specific state called rupa samrita. It means something like enriched with form. This describes a perfect harmony, where the hymn's vibration is an exact physical match for the action it's meant to cause. In other words, the mantra is the mechanism. The description of the event is the event. So, what's the grand result of this cosmic battle? This incredible interplay between obstruction and creation. What comes out of it all? The text frames this whole interaction as a yajna, a cosmic ritual or sacrifice. It's this continuous process where the obstruction of Vritra is overcome again and again, allowing matter to be forged. And all the energy released in this cosmic forge, well, that's what goes on to power the stars and the suns, sustaining the entire universe.
But that still leaves one last question, doesn't it? What is the ultimate source of power behind these creative hymns? The text offers a final, really potent clue right here. This line basically translates to, the Trishtip meter itself is power, or dynamism. Trishtip isn't a word for a thing. It's a specific poetic meter, a rhythm. So the text is saying that the power isn't just in the words, it's in their very structure. The rhythm of the hymn itself is the source of its energy and its force. The specific metrical vibration is the engine.
When you step back, what this ancient text is proposing is a universe built not just from stuff, from matter, but from the specific vibrations that organize that matter. It reframes creation as a structured, resonant process. And that leaves us with a profound question to chew on. Is reality fundamentally built from things, or is it built from the information, the rhythm, and the vibration that tells those things how to be? Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.